The A-Train for PS1 is a transport tycoon simulation game themed around the Japanese transportation systems like the title or A-Trains, released in the year of our Lord of 1993. The A-Train is actually a long-running series of games, with the very first A-Train being released in 1985 for the FM7, NEC PC 8801, NEC PC 9801, X1 Turbo, MZ2500, Famicom, MSX2, Samsung Series 6 fridge, and George Foreman Panini Press. Only 2 of those were a joke, and one of the jokes actually can run this game today.
What a time to be alive.
The A-Train on PS1 is actually a port of the A-Train 4 on PC, and since it's a port, naturally a whole bunch of features have been cut in order for the game to run properly and fit on a single CD. Features like scenario mode, multiple maps, map generator, and the main smegging menu. That's not a joke. This is how the game starts. No, I didn't skip anything. That's how it starts. You select a language and a country and the map loads and off you go. And no, selecting a different country of preference doesn't load a different map. I don't actually know what selecting a different country does, and I don't sufficiently care to find out. So the game starts pretty much immediately. There is no main menu, and this is where we come across one major problem this game has. There's absolutely no tutorial or help system. You know, something that you definitely don't need when playing a complex transport tycoon simulation game with advanced mechanics. And it doesn't even have the courtesy of starting up pause. No. It starts running from the very first second. And while there are 2 trains already set up for you, they don't make much in terms of profit, so you're bleeding money until you randomly come across the speed controls by absolute smegging accident in one of the hidden menus. Now, to be fair, this game is from the 90s, and during this time many games, in fact most games, actually had additional information, help and tutorials in the game manual. But since I have a used copy of this game, I don't have a manual. So I went online to find one, but sadly I couldn't find any PS1 A-Train manuals for this game online. I did find one of the PC version for this game, but since a whole bunch of content isn't present in this port, that wasn't much help. I did turn to other YouTubers for help, but the few videos of this game that exist online show about an hour of gameplay footage, or they are reviews, without much explanation included, so I had to learn to play this through trial and error. The perfect way to retain your gaming audience, make them trudge blindly through your game discovering the right way to play. And it's a shame because even with a single map and all of the options inside hidden menus, with little to no information or assistance, this is a very good tycoon game for the time. It pretty much plays like most games of this type, most notably OpenTTD, so it can be and is a lot of fun if this is the type of game you enjoy. Now, normally I would just play the game through, trying to get as much out of it maybe with commentary if I streamed it, but I can't do that here because this is a sim game, so it has no end. It pretty much runs until you run out of money. So here's what I will do. I will give you some tips on how to play this game for the off chance that any of you get bored of every other tycoon game in existence and decide that this is the game to try next. Or you're like me and you actually enjoy reliving the old games from time to time. Now, bear in mind, everything I'm about to say is based on my experience while experimenting blindly, so if I say anything that turns out to be wrong, well, tough tits. So let's give this a good old shot, shall we? After the map loads, you already have 2 trains set up, and a pretty good starting town. These trains get you a regular influx of construction materials, but they don't bring you any profit. The map has a bunch of small towns and farms, but you should not be distracted by them at this point. Not because you don't have money to build in them, but because you need construction materials parked nearby in order to build there. Just one of the things in the metric crapton of things the game doesn't tell you about. What I did is build roads between a few closer towns, which are represented as random collection of houses scattered around the map, and set up a bus station and then buy a bus to use them. Then in the starting town, build a few apartment buildings and a couple of places of interest to attract people towards to, like a gym or a restaurant. This should get you some income coming in, and your starting town will begin to grow. Since the game gives you a lot of funds at the start, you don't have to wait for funds to accumulate, and you can start building up train stations between your starting town and any nearby towns you want. Passenger trains will get you more income from people coming to see your points of interest, but at this point you will likely start to run out of construction materials. You can wait for the train to deliver more, sell that train and buy a better one with more carriages to increase the amount that gets delivered, or you can build a factory to make more on the spot. To grow other towns, you will need to build storage pads and get freight trains to deliver construction materials, and then you can repeat the process of building apartments and buildings of interest, and you keep doing this until you run out of money, at which point you can take a loan and continue, or you decide your game ends right then and there. Now, I don't know how much of that helps you, but hey, I did manage to keep my game going for several hours before cashing out, and while figuring this out was annoying, actually playing it is pretty fun. It's a pretty good tycoon game considering it's a port of a PC game from 1990 smegging 3. So there, hope you enjoyed this summarized look at the PS1 A train, and don't count on me for doing this for every game, unless you like it, at which point I might consider it. Okay, bye!